Hey, what's up, people? Pizzow here, and what I want to do today is talk about my favorite movies of 2011. And it's not going to be a top 10 list, a top 5 list. It's just going to be a simple top 2 list, because when I thought of my favorite movies of last year, really only 2 movies jumped to mind, and these 2 jumped directly to the forefront. And I don't know if that's because I didn't see as many movies in 2011, or if the movies that I saw in 2011 just weren't incredibly memorable. I'm kind of leaning toward the latter, actually. And I'm not saying that I saw every movie that came out this last year, 2011. So if one of these isn't your favorite movie of 2011, let me know what that was, and if it's a movie that I hadn't seen, I'll check it out. But when I talk about good movies, I talk about movies that are special. They kind of reach in and grab you, and you're powerless against them. You're just lost in the movie, and that's attributed to great filmmakers, great storytellers, good actors, the whole 9 yards. Sort of a movie that comes together in a way that loses you in it. And both of these movies are very ambitious films, I think. One of them very, very ambitious, and both of them kind of flew under the radar last year. One of them's getting a lot of awards buzz. It's been nominated for a lot of awards. I'm sure it'll be nominated for a few Oscars whenever those are announced, but I'll get to that one later. The first film that I want to talk about, which is my overall favorite movie of this year, is the movie Drive, starring Ryan Gosling, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn or something like that. He directed a great movie called Bronson a few years ago with Tom Hardy that I highly recommend. And Drive is a story of a sort of a distant, disaffected kind of guy who by day is a stunt driver, Hollywood stunt driver. By night is a getaway man for hire for people who need getaway men, people who are robbing things, stealing from people, so on and so forth. And he sort of gets mixed up with a bunch of shady characters, and things go south. He falls in love with this woman and her young son who live in the same apartment building as he does, and her husband's in prison and about to get out of prison. And it's really just an amazing movie. I did a more in-depth review of it a couple of months ago, I think. Go check that out. I'll put a link up to it. Really one of those movies that is, if you like Michael Mann films, if you like those, brooding kind of crime dramas, you'll like this film. It's very different. It's very ambitious. Just the way the story's told, the filmmaking itself, it's very, very stylish. The soundtrack is just incredible. A lot of very cool, distant, synthy kind of songs on it that just sort of perfectly, in a musical sense, kind of capture what the movie's about. It's just so good. It's so cool. It's such a great movie. And it's one of those movies that people kind of are either they like it or they hate it. They kind of get it or they don't. And I love the film. Highly recommend it. Love the performances in it. Everything about it I just really, really enjoyed. It's got a great cast. It's got some good action sequences. It's just a really great film. It's coming out on DVD at the end of this month, and Blu-ray. We'll definitely be picking that up on Blu-ray. It comes out on the 31st, so I will definitely, probably will, well, I don't know. I don't know if I'll pre-order it or just go pick it up at Walmart when it comes out. I'll probably just pick it up at Walmart when it comes out, but really a great movie. I highly recommend it. I've seen it twice, and its power doesn't really diminish that much over the second viewing, so it's good for multiple viewings, which is always a sign of an exemplary film. Really highly recommend it. Go out, check it out. You won't be sorry. The second film is really one of the most ambitious, mind-blowing, tour de force films I've really ever seen, and it comes from one of Hollywood's most enigmatic directors, Terrence Malick. He is the J.D. Salinger of the film world. He made two great films in the 70s, both highly acclaimed, called Badlands and Days of Heaven, and he disappeared. He went into kind of seclusion, and he reemerged in the late 90s with The Thin Red Line, which is one of my, if not my, single all-time favorite movie. A movie that's just so incredibly powerful and poetic and moving that I could do a whole video just talking about how powerful I think that film is. But this is his latest offering. It's available now on Blu-ray. It is The Tree of Life. It is about a family in a small Texas town, and this young boy who's growing up under sort of the ironclad fist of a tough father played by Brad Pitt, and sort of a whimsical how would you describe his mother? Sort of ethereal fairy kind of really loving kind of mother, and how those two vying kind of things sort of built him to be a man. And you see him in the future as played by Sean Penn, and there's really, I mean, that's sort of the storyline, but there's just so much more going on in the film. I mean, basically the film starts with the creation of the universe, and we're going through dinosaurs. There's dinosaurs in this film, and it's kind of, you know, showing how, I mean, you could interpret the film in a dozen different ways. I don't think I'll go into my own interpretation of the film and why there's so much going on. Visually, it's absolutely stunning. There's so much going on to look at in this movie. Terrence Malick is just, he uses the camera like a poet would use a pen. Great performances all around. Really just a film that you kind of sit and watch, and it's really kind of mind-blowing. It's very, very and it doesn't always work. I mean, it does. There's times where it doesn't always completely work, but you know that it's coming straight from the heart. And it's really just one of those films that you have to kind of see to believe. You kind of have to experience it. I thought it was very, very powerful. I thought it was quite moving, especially toward the end. It's just one of those movies that is so different that it's either going to fascinate you and just sort of encompass you into it, or you're just going to kind of tune out and go, this is weird, I don't think I want to watch this. But I highly recommend it. If you've got, I think it's about 3 hours long, so if you've got 3 hours to spare and you want to see a movie that's very different from anything that you've seen before, a really powerful film, a very poetic film, I highly recommend The Tree of Life. So yeah. I mean, those were my two favorite films of 2011. Go ahead and post in the comments what your favorite films were of last year. If you've got any films that you feel very strongly about, like I do about Drive and The Tree of Life, please recommend them. I might end up checking them out. But yeah. So anyway, until next time, you guys take it easy, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.